I tried to get your attention yesterday, but you didn't notice me. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then she interrupts me and goes, I scratched you and you didn't notice me. And I was like, oh, like, how do I respond to that? Like, I was already like apologizing because the words you didn't notice me are very poignant. I don't want to make someone feel like I didn't notice them. But when she repeated herself, interrupted me and was like, I scratched you and you didn't notice me. I'm like, Jesus, like, that's weird. It's time to stop spinning your wheels, wasting time, money, and energy building your brand alone on social media. Hi, I'm Sophia Spallino, the host of Social Equity, the podcast, here to help you build your own profitable personal brand, the social equity you can rely on to make the money that you deserve. Are you ready, Miss Future Millionaire? Let's get into it. Hello, my beautiful queer women rising. Welcome back to Social Equity. I'm so glad you're here. Today's episode is going to be funny because I'm going to be sharing the weirdest thing I ever heard during an event, like an in-person event. And I wouldn't call it a speed dating event, just like an actual event. And I won't name names because I don't want to call anyone weird out, but I was just at a festival, so you guys can put two and two together. Some crazy stuff happened, and I'm going to go into one of the stories today because I've never been hit on like this in my life, and it was really, really weird. So to pick you up to speed, if you haven't been following my queer joy journey as I travel Europe, healing my broken heart, which, by the way, I wouldn't call my heart broken anymore. I'm feeling so alive and happy and honestly shocked that I was ever sad over such a situation where I was treated so poorly. And it's really made me step back and check my self-worth and truly get grounded in who I am and what I expect and what I deserve. And I'll never, ever, ever let myself get into a situation like that again. And I hope that I can be a shining light to women who are in toxic relationships, letting them know that there is hope and that if you do leave and you think you're never going to find that connection or joy or peace or love, romance, again, it's not the issue you need to be worried about. You need to be concerned with finding yourself again and finding peace again, and everything else will simply flow. My business has been taking off since I left toxic. My heart feels safe. My body feels at peace. There's just so much ease in my life. It's simple. I wake up and I'm happy, and there's no one to make me crazy or gaslight me or cause any emotional pain. So I'm feeling so incredibly blessed on this journey, and it's only May 25th, 6 days until my birthday. But I've been traveling since about, let me look at my calendar here. I left on the 12th of May, and it is now the 25th of May. So it's been about 2 weeks since I embarked on this journey to Europe. And I started my journey by going with my mom and my sister shopping in Houston. And then I left from Houston to go to Ibiza. And I landed in Ibiza on Monday the 13th. And me and my best friend enjoyed the lesbian festival. Now my best friend Elena, so many of you guys follow her. Shout out to my girl Elena. She's absolutely straight, and she was an incredible support and ally at the festival. Just having the most fun, like queen straight girl on the boat and just vibing with the lesbians. I freaking loved it. And within my first 3 days in Ibiza, we made over $17.5 thousand in revenue, and I was just overjoyed. There was a little part of me that was like, oh, like the limiting beliefs that come up of, oh my, if you go on a trip, like what if you get less focused? What if you make less money? All lies. Truly having more fun, sharing your life when you have a personal brand being more of who you are is what makes more money. And I'm so glad that I'm able to truly embody it. I honestly feel that my voice has changed. I don't know if you can hear it. And I know that these episodes may be like inserted at different days and times, but this is May 25th when I'm recording, and I feel like a different person, like Sophia 3.0. I'm in a penthouse in Tuscany, 3-bedroom, huge penthouse, living my absolute best life. And the Tuscan dream, Lucca, Italy, is unimaginable. It's a walled city. You walk and feel so safe and eat pizza and croissants literally all day, and the gluten isn't bothering my tummy. It's truly magical. I spend my daytime walking, my evenings DMing you guys and creating content and just enjoying like this very, America is just so fast. And I'm not saying that money doesn't matter. Money does, but freedom is what matters. And having the money to create that freedom is what matters. And so being here and just being in this like slower paced world where people just truly indulge in food and love is in the air and there's just so much peace. It's been so nourishing for my body and my nervous system. I feel so grounded and so good. Even with all the moving around, this is my 4th location. I went from Ibiza at this resort where the festival was to the Surgeon in Ibiza, which was like a beautiful luxury boutique hotel. Then I went from Surgeon to another Airbnb villa. Excuse me. Also, the allergies in Tuscany have been pretty rough for me. I will admit that's the one thing that's been negative, but that's okay. And then this penthouse suite, which is like, I've never stayed anywhere this top notch in my entire life. And I'm just feel like I'm floating and living in a fairyland. Okay. So let's rewind back to the festival, the lesbian festival. Okay. If you're listening, straight ally, like just picture this. I am out on the resort's pool area, bar area, and everyone's connecting. At this point, I believe it's the 3rd night. Now, I had, at this point on the 3rd night, a few people, probably just 3 total throughout the entire trip. It wasn't weird at all. It was very sweet. 3 people just come up and be like, "Oh, you're Sophia from TikTok, right?" And that's just so sweet. I love when people come up in real life because I'm naturally a little shy socially. I was homeschooled, and I think that's always going to be a part of who I am. I still like identify as like this shy homeschooled girl, except when I'm on camera. So it was really sweet when people would be like, "Oh, hi." But anyway, this was not one of those times. What I'm about to tell you is just straight up weird, and I'll never understand it, honestly. So I'm visiting with Elena, and Elena gets immediately swooped away by the lesbians because they're just all love her. Elena's just a big personality. If you know, you know. She is queen. So she gets swooped up, and I'm waiting for a drink, and I'm standing in line. And it was always like a little bit of a line for the drinks. It was part of the festival. It's like, oh, you get free drinks, blah, blah, blah. So everyone would just pile up before the free drink cut off. And I'm walking in and I'm like literally grabbing a tea, okay? Because I'm a baby grandma and I don't need to have a drink to be at a social event. I mean, I enjoy a good glass of Prosecco, but that wasn't necessary, although it may have been after this happened. I didn't realize what was about to happen. Anyway, I'm just relaxed, waiting for my green tea to come to me. And I feel a little scratch on my back. And at that point, I didn't realize it was a scratch because I had a blue jean jacket on. And I turned around and this woman's standing there and she's like, "Hi, I've been waiting to meet you." And I was like, okay. But she like looked at me with like this blankness in her face. And it was the strangest thing. And I'm just like, "Hi, I'm Sophia. Nice to meet you." And she continues on, "Oh, I tried to get your attention yesterday, but you didn't notice me." And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then she interrupts me and goes, I scratched you and you didn't notice me. And I was like, oh, like, how do I respond to that? Like, I was already like apologizing because the words you didn't notice me are very poignant. Like, that's like very, like, I don't want to make someone feel like I didn't notice them. But when she repeated herself and interrupted me and was like, I scratched you and you didn't notice me. I'm like, Jesus, like, that's weird. And she's like, yeah, I came up behind you and scratched you and you didn't notice me. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, how do I respond to that? You scratched me? Like, that is something I've only ever done with like women that I've been in relationship with for a long time, like sexually, like a little scratch, like a little cute little kitty scratch. Like, what the heck was this? I'm like, what is going on? And I'm probably staring at her blankly at this point, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, I didn't notice. And she's like, yeah, I just want to know about you. And I was like, okay, what do you do? And so she tells me she is in some secret service thing, I believe in Germany. It was either Germany or Switzerland. And I'm like, oh, okay. And she's like, yeah, I can't talk about it. And I'm like, okay. And then she asked what I did, and I said, oh, like a lot of things, but primarily I am a profitable personal brand coach and influencer. And she just looked at me. Now, keep in mind, this is someone who has, for days, wanted to get my attention because it was the third night, and then yesterday she had scratched me. I later found out that the first day she went up to a group of girls that later became my friends, that she told them like she was going after me since day one, which is okay, whatever, go for it, girl. But yeah, keep in mind, this is someone trying to win me over in some way or flirt with me. And the next thing that comes out of her mouth, as soon as I say, oh, actually, I'm a personal brand, social media strategist, and influencer, she just looks at me and goes, you can't really make a lot of money being an influencer. Like, do you really do okay? And I was like, I completely just interrupted. At that point, I was like, this is some bullshit. And I was just like, actually, I do really, really well. And she's like, oh, okay. And I was like, yeah. And I just turned around because anyone who she was already being creepy and then took questions. Like, I will never understand. Was that supposed to be cute? Was that supposed to make me try to prove myself to her? I have no idea, but I don't really live a life where I prove myself to anyone. Anyway, it was the weirdest thing. And she continued to go up to other women and tell them that she was going to like try to get with me, or like, hey, do you know her? Like, can you connect us? Blah, blah, blah. And at that point there was no return. I saw her at multiple different things after and just like went around the outskirts of the room, just completely freaked out. For those of you listening to this and you're like, what the heck? Someone coming up and scratching you. Awesome. But if someone out there thinks that that is appropriate, can you please DM me and explain why? Because I have a personal space bubble, and I like to invite someone into that personal space bubble. Even if I am on a date or been on dates with somebody, I like to make sure that there's mutuality and consent. And for someone to just come up and say that they scratched me and then to do it again is just really, really strange. Anyway, what a fun time. Aside from that, amazing time at the Lesbian Festival. Made so many incredible connections. So many really cool women were there who are in women and gender studies. I met an incredible woman who became one of my really good friends and Elena's good friend. And she is a women and gender studies professor. And I spent a lot of time with her asking her questions about how I can do my best to communicate to the queer community and be inclusive to everyone, and like just making sure that I was doing my very best. And it was so sweet. She just goes, I really think you're doing amazing. And I was like, okay. I'm trying to do everything I can. I've been using like the little X in women. And she's like, well, it sounds like you really care. And I was like, thank you. And I do. And I think that really caring, honestly, has been the thing that's gotten me so far in my business. I can't tell you how many times, whether I am creating commercials for brands, content for brands, or I am serving clients in the past as an agency, done for you work, or now coaching clients and making sure that they fully understand a concept, that the lessons are thorough, that they understand what I'm coaching and so they can go out and make their $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 in a month. I really, really deeply care. And I think that that's not just something that's missing in the coaching industry, but I think that's just missing in humanity in general. I think all these companies that I've worked with ever to create content, they're like, wow, you really followed through. Like you over deliver and under promise. And I think that's just how things should be done. And if that's how you do things, we are going to vibe because you're a woman of excellence. And I really think to get to where I am, living this multi-six-figure life and living the dream and attracting the types of humans that I want in my life and in my relationships, like this wouldn't be possible without being a person who, one, I answer to a higher power. For me, that is God. I answer to God. And I know that I have a deep calling, and I always under promise, over deliver. And if you're like that, I love that you're here. I love that we are connecting. I love that you're that kind of woman. I think there needs to be more of us in the world who are doing incredible things, whatever you feel led to do, whether you're making jewelry or you're an artist or you are a lesbian pastor or you are a esthetician or dietitian. You're doing what you do with excellence. And I'm honored to be a part of your life and to help you build your business. For those of you who have listened, but you've never taken a look at my free training, my signature 5-key free training, I'm so happy to send it to you. Just DM me the word profit on Instagram. We'll make sure that you have the 5 keys to make more profit in your business sent right over to you. It is my deepest joy and pleasure to see women, specifically queer women, and when I say women, I mean anyone who identifies as a woman around the world, just doing better. Because if I can, you can. I am very special, but I'm not any more special than you. God made us all infinitely powerful, and I want to see you do amazingly well. Just don't be creepy. Don't go scratching girls on the back. Like, we can leave that creepy stuff to men, right? Like, we can leave the creepy pickup lines and pickup touches to the guys and create our own world where we don't do that and we are gentle with each other, and women who support women and shine bright and don't scratch each other to get each other's attention. Okay, I'm sorry. It's just so gross to me. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you have an amazing day. And if you haven't already, go to my Instagram and go ahead and add me as a favorite. So when you hit following, you can tap on my profile, and then where it says following, tap that again and hit add to favorites or add to close friends list. That way you can see my posts come up first, and I'll see you on Instagram. If you ever have any questions, I am a DM away, and should you want that free training, just DM me the word profit. Okay, bye y'all. I've got to go get another chocolate croissant, my second of the day. Ciao. Congratulations for listening to another episode of the Social Equity Podcast. Every moment you invest in building your brand is contributing to your social equity. If you're an exhausted coach or service provider, or you're just getting started building your brand from scratch, I can't wait to give you the first steps to go from 0 to 5K months and advance to 10 to 20K months. But why should you take my word for it? Well, I've spent over 9 years in the industry, amassing over 350,000 followers across platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, as well as hosting a top charting podcast, building a successful service provider business, and coaching powerful women to build purposeful, profitable personal brands. So yeah, you should lean in and listen to the social media secrets, sales tips, marketing strategies, and mindset hacks I share. I want to help you build your dream business that makes real money, leveraging the power of a personal brand on social media. Because you're ready to quit wasting time on content that isn't working and start bringing in the money you deserve as a purpose-led coach or service provider, sharing your gifts with the world. So for a limited time, I'm giving away your first steps to go from 0 to 5K months and advance to 10K to 20K months. Grab my newly revamped Profitable Personal Brand Blueprint, the proven framework to build yourself a personal brand that motivates, inspires, and sells so that your business can thrive the way it should. Just go to the link in the show notes. To ask me questions in real time, join me on Instagram Live for the live podcast show. The schedule is always posted on my profile. My handle is @Sophia Spallino. And if you're tired of posting without a reliable strategy and posting without maximal profit, just like many of my clients were before, then you want to join the Profitable Personal Brand 6-month coaching program. Many of you asked how you can get me to coach you on building a profitable personal brand like the one I have. That's why I designed this coaching program, so you could have me coach you, guide you, and mentor you. This is for female coaches, service providers, and entrepreneurs who want to be known for purposeful work and build an extremely profitable personal brand on social media without wasting time. Whether you're a novice at creating or you're feeling stuck hitting a plateau in business that once had consistent revenue and need guidance, support, and coaching to get to your next level, book a strategy call to speak with either me or my team to see if we'd be the right fit to work with each other inside of the Profitable Personal Brand 6-month coaching program. Mind you, I am very selective and this coaching program is not for everyone because I'm only taking on serious, purpose-driven, and committed soul sisters inside of my community. If that's you, book your free strategy call now. The link is in the show notes. And if you feel yourself come alive and get excited to take radical responsibility for building your social equity, your personal brand that no one can take from you, leave a 5-star rating with a kind review wherever you listen to podcasts. And be sure to share the show with a powerful woman you know. And remember, with a positive mindset and a profitable personal brand, all things are possible. So go get up and go get what you want.